Alright, this is my new Grizzly G7945 benchtop radial drill press, and I just picked this up today at Grizzly, and I had removed my old Delta because the speed changer had messed up on it. You just turn this little guy right here and it no longer moves anything. So it's kind of like got a little torque converter thing in there, and that has a tendency, and it's not raising up, so just going fast speed all the time. So may look into getting that fixed, but I thought it was time to upgrade to this. I've always wanted the variable speed, variable depth, so I can get this to come out there. This one has a 17-inch throat distance if I want that. I had just now fixed my cradle that sat on the top there, and it just sits over there like a horse saddle, and it'll sit there. It's been on the other one for years and years, or several years. Anyway, this is part of my drill presses, my drill press stuff, and if I do need to change the orientation on this, I can just simply move this up and take it off there. And I did retrofit my old fence system to the new blade, and this is a dent, or a Grizzly dent thing. So they had taken that arm off of that drill press and got one off of Shop Fox and pieced this thing together. So I got this for about $100 off of what the normal price is, and other than that, everything else is in really good shape. It's got a little dent back here in the back right here, and a little dent right here in this, but everything else works fine. Runs nice and quiet. No other dents or anything on it. Something that I kind of found kind of funny on these things is this little guy right here is not talked about in the manual. It just shows it on that it's on there, but this is a depth stop, and it's also a lock for that. And basically what you do is you just bring this down to that point there where you want it. I'm going to set my camera. All right, so let's say you want it right there, so you bring this thing down around to where you want it to stop, and then you tighten it up. And what that does is that locks your quill down. So like he's using a spindle center, but they didn't know, none of the manual doesn't talk about it. Nobody else talks about it. But if you turn it this way, that locks your quill down to where it'll stay put wherever you put it. And then to get it to release, you just basically loosen this little knob right here and come up, and it just, that's all you have to do to it, and it'll go down wherever you want it, that kind of thing. Now, if you want to set your depth of cut, it's funny because they show this as the depth of cut, which it will limit your depth of cut, but it's a whole lot slower and not quite as efficient as this one is. So let's say you wanted to come down here and you didn't want to go past that right there. Well, what you do with this thing is you turn this thing counterclockwise to that point to where, let's say we're going right there to the top of this thing right here. So you turn that down and put your lock down, and then whenever you turn your spindle, it stops right here, so it doesn't go on down any farther. So anyway, that's your depth stop there with this little mechanism here, and to get that to come off, you just release it up, and then it'll go on down. So you can see there that I'm way down at that point. So if I want to come up here, and let's just get this right here where it stops right there, and again, all I do is just bring it down to that point, rotate this thing back counterclockwise, just finger tighten it up, and then it stops right there at the top of the board. So that's pretty cool. It's really funny to me that they didn't talk about that with the manual, and it's kind of an oversight, but that's it. Anyway, another little cool thing about it is this is a little flip up deal for the jaw for changing drill bits. Probably keeps the chips more controlled. I'll see how I like that. You may take that off. And then again, this is your depth stop for screwing it down in there. My other one had a button on it that you would push and move it down, and then I had vice grip on it that would lock it into place. And so that's kind of what that thing is. If you go to rotating this is your index key. Just pull that out and then rotate it. Of course, I've got the drill caddy and everything on there, so I don't have that. You want to turn this, you can crank this around. Basically, you know, very seldom do I move this out of just straight up plumb. I will adjust the thickness here. That's all done by moving my table around. And I just simply would loosen this a little bit and then swivel this around until I'm at that point where I'm getting my fence up to that point. Or if I want to adjust it that way, I can do it that way. Or the fence right here is just right here, and I can move it up to this point here. So with that, and then crank that down a little bit. Like so. And there you go. Still set up my depth. That. Anyway, so it took me a little while to get it all bolted in, reusing it, but I'm tickled to death. I had to add this board to it on my setup because this cradled the DeWalt or the Delta at the top, and I basically just glued this onto that point and then clamped this. These will come off there when it sets up. I'm gonna let it set up overnight and then run a screw in from the back side and go that way. And then I also put a little block of wood right back in here that the knob just sets on, so I'm supporting it off of this piece right here, which has got some, you know, beef to it. So the weight of this just kind of pushes against there and it sits on there. So that has worked well again for several years. And my speed on this, I don't really change it. I don't change the orientation of the depth all that much. Every now and then I will. And when that comes to that point, I'll just simply lift this thing up off of there, and set it on the ground. A few things about drill presses: if you don't have one of these little stainless steel things, they're very handy. You can put a drill bit in there or a bolt in there and find out exactly what size of a drill bit that you need. These are a fast cap option. Really handy. About every odd tool that I have in here is in there, and it's handy. So I put the hole up here for the 2 Allen wrenches that fit the drill press, and then my chuck keys right here. I had it on a cord to right here, but I think I'm going to try that and see how that works. But anyway, I'm tickled to death to have the new drill press in and working. But I found it really kind of interesting that nobody had this one figured out. So, you know, and this has like 3 1/4 inch downplay. So I'm real pleased with this. Got the 1/2 horse motor, and so it should do real well. And looking forward to putting it to work.